Maddie, this tree is over 30 years old, and the man that lives here says that he planted it when he first moved in. He said he was sad to see it fall and was glad that no one was hurt here. The group began to walk away, and then officers noticed one of the men in the group began to vape again. Then in the area behind me, that's when police tried to arrest 19-year-old Brian Anderson. And there was a top section up there. It looked like it was mainly plywood, and it flew right off over here. If Matt, if you could show them over there by the roofing and contractors truck. Local first responders got the practice of natural disaster, in which they're going to be transporting about a dozen patients, and all that with the help of the National Guard's UH-60 Blackhawk. This is the first time, and good news for those drivers who plan to get on the road. When you go to the pump, you might notice that the prices are a little bit lower than they've been in the recent past.
Since August,
But right now, we've just been getting battered by wind. You might notice my hat's gone. It's probably about 5 blocks down the road now. We're going to forget about that. And right before we came on the air, it was like 5:25. We watched Marine One fly over the trees just off frame. They did a little loop over there over the ocean and then landed. From the many things the city has to offer, just like the boardwalk that many of you walk each summer, to this unforgettable drive when you first enter the city. And now turning heads to side streets just like Baltimore Avenue. Town says that smoking and vaping has been banned here for years, and the signs here on the boardwalk show that as well. And the spill that started at just 3/4 of a mile is now covering 10 miles along the Delaware coast. Responders say that once they're done with each call, they're going to dispose of the equipment and grab a new one with each new call that they get. A few years ago, if you walked into your kitchen and looked underneath your sink, you might have found a ton of bags that look just like this one, but you can't find these bags in Delaware stores anymore. Town says that smoking and vaping has been banned here for years, and the signs here on the boardwalk show that as well. But again, police say it wasn't that rule, but the pushback from one of the men not wanting to provide ID that led to the arrest. Ocean City officers said 3 of the men were being aggressive and that they responded accordingly, but others say that the arrests were excessive and terrifying. This is the video circulating on social media showing police arrest multiple men for what police say started as a warning about vaping. Ocean City Mayor Rick Meehan says most vaping and smoking on the boardwalk could lead to a municipal citation and a fine of around $50. But he says, unfortunately, this arrest was made for other reasons.
And when you look at some of the things that happen, unfortunately, simple compliance in those situations would have made it so none of those things would have happened. And it is unfortunate when that doesn't occur. But that's not our goal. Compliance is our goal.
But Brian Anderson said police harassed him while asking for his ID, and when he was knocked down in need, he feared for his life.
I just asked God to give me the strength and to guide me, protect me, so that this officer doesn't make this my last day here.
Elected officials in Maryland addressing the video. Senator Mary Beth Croza says she's seen the whole video and says, quote, their follow-up violent actions led to their arrest. These are the facts. But U.S. Senator Ben Cardin says excessive force should not be tolerated anywhere. Members of the Worcester County NAACP want answers.
Looking for full accountability, nothing to be swept under the rug, clear transparency for the Ocean City Police Department to conduct a full investigation that holds people accountable, that if there is wrong done, that there's consequences for that.
Days after the arrest, the video is still causing concern for people on the boardwalk today.
Being a man of color, we always worry about that. And we really worry about that for the welfare of our children also, because they don't understand the magnitude of what's going on here.
We've reached out to the Ocean City Police Department multiple times yesterday and today for interviews, and so far those requests have been denied. And also we've been hearing officials talk about a full video of the event, and some of them even saying the, quote, entire video shows why that arrest was appropriate. We've reached out to try and get access to that video, but we're being told at this time that video is being used as evidence. A few years ago, if you walked into your kitchen and looked underneath your sink, you might have found a ton of bags that look just like this one, but you can't find these bags in Delaware stores anymore. When you're going in, you're seeing bags just like these 2 right here, but lawmakers are trying to get rid of the single-use plastic bags, so you could end up seeing more bags that look just like this one.
Do you have more bags now?
Representative Jaryd Brady says due to a legal loophole, plastic bags didn't really go away, they just got thicker.
The retailers simply went up in volume, in this case up in thickness, and compounded the problem we were initially trying to achieve.
I think those thick bags are dumb.
Art Chomas has no problem with a plastic bag ban, but wonders if making the law stricter will make a difference.
People won't reuse them anymore, and because they don't care. And now you got thicker bags that are making a mess.
House Bill 212 attempts to get all retailers to only allow eco-friendly bags like these, but those in the food industry say this could actually be a step backwards.
Instead of pushing to 100% reusable, this is really bringing back, if you will, paper bags, which most of the industry got away from years ago because they were so bad for the environment.
Wenger adds paper bags are more expensive than plastic bags. Representative Brady says the state has secured funding for DENREC to try and design alternative bags. Those bags would fit the bill's intentions and help stores offer the right bags without breaking the bank. Now the next step for House Bill 212 before it can become law is to go to the Senate for consideration. Local first responders got the practice of natural disaster in which they're going to be transporting about a dozen patients, and all that with the help of the National Guard's UH-60 Black Hawk. This is the first time nurses with BB Healthcare got to experience transporting patients to and from the powerful helicopter with assistance from the National Guard, getting close enough to the helicopter to experience the force the Black Hawk puts out, comparing the winds from the blades to the winds of a storm.
Because if we didn't do this, you don't want to do this for the first time in the middle of a hurricane.
Nurses treated the simulated patients.
What's the diagnosis?
Low hemoglobin.
Protecting themselves and patients from the force of the helicopter.
High protection.
First responders say anything can happen during the heat of the moment in an evacuation. Nurses and military hands strapped people and dummies to boards, placed fake IVs, and supplied oxygen in a fast-paced emergency environment.
There are things that my staff is learning today that they didn't know, like how do you unfold a NATO stretcher? How do you package a patient for a helicopter? What's an appropriate patient? What isn't?
But it's all about teamwork.
1, 2, 3, left. So being able to work with a civilian partner for us is good because it's a different mindset when you're working military. Sometimes it's, you got to get the mission done regardless. But civilian, obviously, there's another risk of safety, an aspect of safety that you need to incorporate.
The UH-60 Black Hawk can be ready to launch in 15 minutes and can make a flight from BV to Newcastle in 30 minutes. With coverage you can count on, I'm Jaryd, Leady, and Lewis for WRDE Coast TV News.